name, so they made me get the trade name e-NABLE Alliance so that you know who I was and where I was from. We were founded to support the e-NABLE community, and so I'm focused on global resources and making them available. Initially, I was looking at the Enabling the Future website and the work of Jen and Owen, who you see here in cosplay costumes that were documented on the web. This was a hand that was seen by a carpenter in South Africa who had cut his fingers off. He emailed and asked for assistance in creating a prosthetic because he wasn't able to obtain one using standard means. He also sent a mold of his hand, and so they began innovating using that across 10,000 miles. They were eventually able to get some funding so that he could actually go to South Africa and they could work side by side. And then someone donated a 3D printer so that they could keep working on files and they would be able to make changes and print things out. But that was after they had created a solution for the South African carpenter. And what they created was a functional partial amputation of the finger prosthetic. The next door neighbors, or the neighbors of the carpenter, their son, Liam, needed a hand. He was born with an upper limb difference because of amniotic band syndrome. And he went to a camp for kids like him. He asked for a hand for his best friend, and his mother asked for a hand for him. And so they created the first 3D printed hand for Liam. There are videos of him saying, "I won't give up," and picking up coins, single coins off of a flat surface. And I have to tell you that those kinds of videos keep us going. And so the Scouts and I, we used our efforts in a National Youth Leadership Training Program to try and learn how to do this and then teach someone else. We went to Dr. Chi at Johns Hopkins. He gave us the motivation to be able to learn how to do this. And from that experience, I decided that we could help this community and roll these skills out to others. So hence the creation of a way to solve not just the prosthetics problem, but also to apply this style of innovation and this drive, this model of sharing your solution with others. And so these are the other people who have joined me in this effort. We have our board there with Ivan. We have a lot of other people, including children who are young people who are in the first robotics team. MA5951 is in Israel, and 1511 is in Rochester. They're the ones who donated the money so that I was able to create this nonprofit. We now are asking people to join us in research on myoelectric prosthetics, which is how my daughter and I began our journey with e-NABLE, where she was able to close her hand and move the signal from her arm to mine to make my hand shut. So we have also the work that we regularly do with e-NABLE. We were making one-off designs or using generic designs to make prosthetics for other people that were emailing us. The initial recipient was a Scout. After that, we were making Shuster-like inventories in small, medium, large for medical volunteers who were giving them in places including for Syrian refugees. This is the first arm that we made. It was a riff off of the RIT arm with a Hopkins wrist. We started going to the VA and working with adults, so it was no longer a congenital issue. It was people who had some kind of trauma. And we found that women were choosing between having families or using prosthetics because they had so much swelling in their arms that by midday or the end of the day, they wouldn't have a functioning prosthetic anymore. So we've started to also work with other kinds of adults who are innovating unusual designs and having a lot of creativity. And we are also working with camps. These are the group of parents whose children have had hysterectomies. So they've gone from making prosthetics to exoskeletons for those children, and then they also are finding that there's an opportunity for research with adults who've had traumatic brain injury. And that's a lot. And so again, we're going to innovate again on the myoelectric ideas with that exoskeleton. We're asking for people to include the art because it improves the patient outcome. And then we're also moving forward with other kinds of emerging technologies so that we can defend the intellectual property of an open source license, so that we can enact transactions and try to support this work without the people in developing countries needing access to conventional economies. So I leave you with this. It's one of my favorite photos. When Cam got his right hand, that was the discovery that he was right-handed. Nobody knew what he was capable of, and the immense satisfaction he had with being able to use his dominant hand. told me that we don't know what we're capable of ourselves. So I hope that you will join me in December when we have a retreat to try and summarize the state of the technology, the state of the arts, and the state of our community. And thank you so much for your time.